know what you want. Know that you want attention, then you will have to become this like weird person who goes around gathering it from wherever possible avenue. Know that you want to be creative, then you probably won't be able to make money. Know that if you want to make money, then you'll have to probably be a sellout, according to the world and what they will say. Know that if you want mental peace, then you'll probably have to shut some voices around you.
Why glorify the finishing line when you can cherish your halfway mark, right? Namaste everyone, welcome back to the Myriad. Thank you so much for watching yet another episode. I'm in conversation with Siddhaarth Aalambayan today, who is a content creator and a film director. We talk about the world of filmmaking and directing in India. And if you're an aspiring filmmaker or even inclined towards this field, maybe this is the conversation for you. Let's dive right into this conversation and see how his world has been so far in this field. So tell me first and foremost, how did you start as a filmmaker? How did you know that this is it? This is where you want to be?
So the thing with my life is that even right now, there's been about 10 years of a prep or struggle or, juggling and doing what I do to then come where I am at right now. 10 years ago, I came to Bombay, or I went to Bombay. Right now, I'm in Hyderabad. But at that time, I was doing college. So about 3 years of college. And while I was doing college, I was doing photography. So I was passionate about photography. I still am very passionate about photography. मतलब रात को आप 2 बजे उठा के बोलो लाइट पेंटिंग करते हैं चल ऊपर जाके तो मैं खुशी करना चाहूँगा. But the thing is, photography led to somebody offering me a behind-the-scenes job on Bijoy Nambiar's second film after Shaitan. So that was called David. It was a small chunk. It was just the Mangalore sort of a schedule. So basically, we were cheating Goa in Mangalore. So there's a Goan fisherman, but we're cheating that whole thing in Mangalore. What that means is basically Bollywood lies to you. It's all what you see in that dabba. So in this dabba, whatever you see is all that will matter. I could have called this a Bandra home and you wouldn't have realized it. People would have had to hold my location. So I filmed that bit of it behind the scenes, and then I came back and I started assisting on various projects. So I assisted a little here and there, and then that was my full-fledged पैसा कमाने के लिए करना पड़ रहा है या prep के लिए या workshop या सीखने के लिए करना पड़ रहा है. But for a layman or somebody who's just watching this out of like a plugin, it is you keep building your creativity all your life. मतलब आप रास्ते में भी कुछ देख रहे हो तो आपको जो पत्तियों का कलर है से लेके जो किसी एक अतरंगी आदमी ने अपना घर कैमरे जैसा बनाया हुआ है तो वो भी आपकी एक क्रिएटिव थॉट प्रोसेस ही है. मतलब you start gaining everything और सडनली आप सोचते हो कि अच्छा ठीक है हर एक चीज कंट्रीब्यूट करके. तो फिल्म मेकिंग is about telling the stories, and this is something Anurag Kashyap says, I think, if I'm not quoting him incorrectly, is that tell the stories that you really want to tell, because your medium is as big as this telephone or this laptop or a DSLR, and you can use ring lights, so you can use like your computer or anything at all. So filmmaking is about taking that story and saying it in the visual format. You can use photography, and be a storyteller, but you need to be able to tell stories in effective manners. And that's what I took from each and every director that I worked with.
But tell me one thing, if someone's watching this right now and if they are interested in photography, filmmaking, direction, sort of a field, for them, if you could give out certain prepping points as to how they can go about, how they can enter this field, what would that be?
The thing that I did, what I think really made me who I am or what I can do is there is no set formula. I mean, there are people who will say you need to assist a bunch of directors, but somebody can say, "Bhai, मैं वहाँ तक भी कैसे पहुँचूँ?" या whatever. You can start doing your own stuff on any kind of apps that are there available by shooting and then putting it on an edit on your phone or on a laptop and then putting it out on YouTube and then gaining followers, building it. But the thing is that you need to watch a lot of films. There isn't like you can go to film school. I did a bit of a diploma sort of course, 8-week filmmaking, but that only taught me this, that you need to hone your craft. but before that, and you need to know the boundaries to be able to fit your things into it. Like जैसे किताबी में ये लिखा होगा किताबी ज्ञान में कि आपने ये सब चीजें करनी चाहिए, right? These are the rules of going about it, and you want to break rules because you're human. You want to try something of your own, which is fine, but you need to know them. So this dates back to a bit where you say that आपने कितना काम देखा है. So for me, the biggest thing that I'll tell anybody who's watching this is, have you seen enough films yourself?
Yeah.
And you can be somebody who likes Bollywood a lot or doesn't like Bollywood a lot. I mean, you don't have to shame Bollywood. You can be somebody who likes Bollywood or Korean cinema or French cinema. But for me, the benefit was that, and to anybody, is that if you've learned where what comes from, like in films, there's something known as a jump cut, and that the French bought it. So the French cinematic revolution was about कि अगर बंदा, जैसे हम यहाँ से बात कर रहे हैं और हम यहाँ से निकले, तो अब मैं सीधा दरवाजा खोलते हुए दिखाऊं आपको, या मैं सीधा बाहर आप गाड़ी में बैठी हो दिखाऊं, सिर्फ दरवाजे की आवाज दिखाऊं, तो क्या आपको समझेगा कि मैं यहाँ से निकला और फिर गाड़ी में बैठा तो मैं दरवाजा खोल के गया हूँगा? ऑडियंस भी इंटेलिजेंट है. So when you've seen enough cinema, you'll probably know the craft of doing this. So जब मैं जूनियर कॉलेज जैसे या 11वीं बोलते हैं हमारे देश में, जब मैं वो कर रहा था तो मैं रात को पढ़ाई करा करता था. और मैं 2 घंटे की पढ़ाई करता तो 2 घंटे की फिल्म देखता था, फिर 2 घंटे की पढ़ाई करता था, फिर 2 घंटे की फिल्म. So more often than not, I would do 4 hours of studies and 6 hours of films. And I'd schedule them like that. I would make a 1.5 hour film, I would see a 3 hour film, and then I would see another 1.5 hour film. Then I would be able to fit all kinds of cinema.
So like you were one of those students then, huh? कि 10 मिनट पढ़ लिया, 1 घंटा मजा.
हाँ, वो मैं था. मेरे माता पिता भी आते थे यदि रूम में रात को चेक करने, तो मैं बोलता था जस्ट अब भी ब्रेक लिया मैंने, मेरे अब भी जस्ट ब्रेक. So watch enough films, but also watch enough behind the scenes and prep material that the filmmakers or the people inside that crew have put in. So like if you go to your Netflix also, you'll see a beautiful documentary on Lagan and how Ashu sir has gone ahead and he's done this like extensive, rigorous kind of work. मतलब वहाँ शूट करने जाओ, वहाँ पर होटल नहीं है, तो आपने इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनाया वहाँ पर जो करीब 3 महीने बाद एक अर्थक्वेक में तबाह हो गया. आपकी पूरी कहानी जहाँ फिल्म हुई पूरी तबाह हो गई. मतलब it's a shattering experience because when you're filming at one place, you get personally attached to that place because you've set your story in that place. Now once you've seen enough films and once you've seen enough of it behind the scenes, you know the basics of it. Yeah. And then you read up on the jargon because क्या होता है कि कोई भी इंडस्ट्री में आप चले जाएंगे जैसे, और आप यदि कहीं बैठे हो मार्केटर्स के साथ और वो पूछें आपको CPM क्या है, तो कॉस्ट पर मिलियन, मतलब you need to know that for the money spent, the world will always want accountability. So filmmaking is also, after everything else said and done in the creative aspects of it, for me a business. So I need to understand that. So that's when I started understanding the business of it. So there are aspects. You can be a fully creative person जो ये बोलता है या बोलती है कि आप भाई, हम तो भाई आर्ट बनाना चाहते हैं, हम अपना कहानी और अपना एक विजन दिखाना चाहते हैं, जरूर दिखाइए, बट आप में किसी ने ट्रस्ट करके आप पे पैसा लगाया होगा, तो आपको वो भी ध्यान रखना है. यदि आप 5 मिनट का भी बना रहे हैं जिसमें किसी और ने पैसा लगाया या आपका खुद का पैसा और एफर्ट या टाइम लगा है, तो ये मेक श्योर कीजिए कि वो आपको कुछ दे. और ये मेरे प्रोफेसर ने मुझे बताई कि आप इंटर्नशिप मत करो, बट एटलीस्ट एक ऐसी फिल्म बना लेना, शॉर्ट फिल्म या डॉक्यूमेंट्री, जिसमें से आप ही कुछ सीखें. तो somewhere you need to be, if you want to become a filmmaker or a videographer or an editor, start watching enough, start watching how that enough was done and start trying something of your own. Because until आप कुछ करोगे नहीं, अगर आप किड़ाकांडी नहीं करोगे तो कुछ नहीं होगा. एक और 2 चीज मेरी सबसे ज्यादा अच्छी इफेक्ट की मेरे को लाइफ में और वर्क की, वो ये थी कि जब हम 2010 में पढ़ाई करना चालू किए थे कॉलेज वाली, मेरे को प्रोफेसर ने बताया कि एक ब्लॉगर थी, उसको ब्लॉगिंग करनी थी, उसने हर दिन एक ब्लॉग पोस्ट डाला. तो उससे मेरे को लगा कि अच्छा ठीक है, हर दिन एक ब्लॉग पोस्ट डालना आसान होता होगा. बट अगर आप देखेंगे तो कई सारे जर्नलिस्ट या पत्रकार ऐसे होते हैं जो दिन में 3 कॉपीज छाप देते हैं ऑनलाइन ऑन द डिजिटल मीडियम. That made me realize that if I had a camera and if I went around clicking as much as my memory card could accommodate, then I'd go back home and I'd look at what all I have clicked and delete a bunch, keep a bunch, think about editing. Then I started clicking in a manner that I knew I can go back and post and edit it in a certain manner. So that made me own the craft because मैं मेहनत ही इतनी कर रहा था, शायद मेरे को नहीं पता था कि इससे मुझे क्या मिलेगा. बट अब आप डिजिटल हैं, you have the liberty of the medium, you can experiment. So go ahead and experiment. Just keep trying, keep doing something.
I think exactly. Now you have to dive into the pool first and then try to swim. Eventually, you will find your style also.
Yeah. And there will be naysayers. Naysayers हर फील्ड में इंडस्ट्री में होंगे कि यार उसमें पैसा नहीं है, उसमें स्कोप नहीं है, उसमें इतना बड़ा नहीं बन सकते, ऐसा कुछ नहीं भाई साहब. आप जिधर चाहोगे उधर आप उखाड़ लोगे, आप उधर the sky is the limit types, and it is possible. So why not?
But you know what I've also heard, now that we're talking about money also, see, obviously it's not an easy industry to flourish ekdam se, because given the competition and the politics that goes behind it, it's not easy. So what's your take on that?
So there are two parts to that as I see it as a question. One, the money, of course. I mean, as a creative person, how much do you value your craft at? So there's a photographer friend of mine called Sakshi Parekh. She says, यार मैं कैमरा खरीदी वो भी मेरा कॉस्ट है, मैंने फोटोग्राफी सीखी वो भी मेरा कॉस्ट है, मेरे पिताजी ने मुझे बम्बई भेजा वो भी मेरा कॉस्ट है, और फिर मैंने करीब 6-8 साल 10 साल कुछ किया है वो भी मेरा कॉस्ट है. तो मेरी प्राइसिंग जो होगी वो मेरी प्राइसिंग उस दिन से चालू होगी जब मैंने इंदौर शहर छोड़ा था, और फिर मैं मुंबई के इस दिन पे पहुंची हूँ, तो करीब 8 साल की वो पूरी मेरी प्राइसिंग ही मेरी प्राइसिंग है. सो आई एम एबल टू टेक अ शॉट in the manner that I did within 20 seconds of you coming into it and doing whatever you do, because I spent 8 years perfecting or getting there. So your cost has to be worth that period, and don't be afraid to ask what you think you deserve. But कई बार ऐसा भी होता है जब हम बचपन में या as a millennial generation or centennials that are going to come into the market, we overestimate ourselves, right? कि नहीं, I deserve so much. But why do you deserve so much? I mean, look at your contemporaries and see what they're doing and how much they're making and how much they're bringing home, why they're able to collect the amount they're able to collect, and then ask for that much. And sometimes it's okay to do something for free. I mean, you will end up getting stuff. Like one of my most popular music videos happened with Sanam. He's a popular singer. It's also the band called Sanam. And Sanam and Samar, the two brothers, met me in a lift. And they were really kind. They're always really kind. They're affable young people and amazing talents, amazing people. और मैंने ऐसे ही उनको बोला, भाई कभी बताओ कुछ करते हैं ना, हम भी करते हैं कुछ. और उन्होंने बोला ठीक है, तू तो बजट बनाएगा. मैंने बोला नहीं भाई आप बता दो, मैं क्या, मेरा कुछ नहीं, छोड़. तो for me the opportunity to be able to grasp something that these beautiful people would do would mean that I can forego of this money bit. ऐसे प्रोडक्शन का आप दे दीजिए, मैं प्रोडक्शन करवा दूंगा. मैं प्रोडक्शन करवा भी दिया और मैंने उसमें ढेले के पैसे नहीं कमाए. Zero. I didn't make anything. Today that video is at about 4.75 million views. Oh no, it's about 3-4 crore views. I don't know. It's one of Sanam's top 10 videos. It's called Pehla Nasha by Sanam. He was doing a different voice in it. And then they gave me a project that never released, and they gave me hefty money for it. For a day of shoot, and I realized that money can't be taken into consideration. But हाँ, यदि आप बम्बई शिफ्ट हुए हैं या हैदराबाद या दिल्ली या कहीं भी, आपको अपना रेंट तो निकालना ही है, आपको अपना खाना पीना और उधर आना जाना कन्वेंस तो निकालना ही है. तो एक्सप्लॉइट मत होइए. स्वाभिमान ज्यादा भी नहीं होना चाहिए, but you can't let your pride get hurt. As an AD or as an assistant, you will or can or probably might have to pick something out of a dustbin. You know, it can get that dirty. And that's probably that dirty because sometimes if you're showing, so like for an example, there is a scene, a girl, एक house help है जो अपने घर से भाग गई है और उसको बाहर कहीं खाना नहीं मिल रहा है. उसका प्रॉप या उसका जो खाना होगा वो कचरे के डब्बे से निकालेगी. अब वो एक एक्ट्रेस है, वो कचरे के डब्बे में हाथ नहीं लगाने वाली है, बट उसकी ऑथेंटिसिटी हमें देखनी है. तो बाहर से डब्बा ऐसा बाहर से कचरे का कैसा दिखता है उसको लेके आके फिर वैसे ही क्रम्पल करके उस पर थोड़े दाग डाल के आर्ट डायरेक्टर कर देगा. बट डायरेक्टर को अगर एक्चुअल रियल रस्टिक एकदम फील देना है तो फिर आपको लेके आना पड़ेगा. तो मैं जाके किसी सुबह 7 बजे गर्दुल्ला, जो बम्बई के लैंग्वेज में गांजा पेडलर होते हैं, उनको ढूंढ के लेके आया बाइक पे बैठा के अपनी, और फिर मैंने उसी आदमी से एक्टिंग करवाई है. और वो फिल्म में है, नेटफ्लिक्स पे फिल्म है ऐसा ही, जहाँ डायरेक्टर विश्वजीत बोरा हैं एंड दिस गर्ल amazing talent Kimsleen Kohli goes and does this whole bit, and the guy who's in it is an actual Gardulla. Later we figured out he was not a peddler, he was just a smoker or whatever, but like that's another story. So do not worry about the money. The monies will follow. You'll have to dedicatedly put your efforts into it.
Yeah. Tell me about the no job phase that you had.
So the no job phase is a very sad phase because
You
it's
want to talk
one
about
way
it?
yeah, it's okay. I'm okay talking about it. But it is like this, okay? You in a corporate job, in a job that you have, you move from one job to the other job. You never almost have a lull unless you take a break yourself, unless you take a sabbatical, unless you go on furlough or whatever. In the film industry, after every job, you're jobless. So if you, as a freelancer, between 2013 to 15 October, I would do a job, and sometimes it goes from 100 days to 180 days to 200 days. And then after those 200 days of almost living with these same 100 people, फिर आप वापस आते हैं, फिर आप कहीं और फिल्म करते हैं, फिर आपकी फिल्म खत्म हो जाती है. फिर ये कई सारे लोग इनमें से चंक हट जाता है. 100 people crew में 75 लोग, 80-90 लोग हट जाते हैं, 10 लोग करीब रह जाते हैं जो एडिटिंग पे बैठे. अगर आप एक चीफ एडी या फर्स्ट एडी या सेकंड एडी हैं और आपके साथ डायरेक्टर की ट्यूनिंग मैच करती है दिमाग वाइज, मेंटल वेवलेंथ वाइज, तो आप एडिट पे भी बैठ रहे हो. मैं बैठना चाहता था क्योंकि मैंने सीखा कई सारी चीजें. मैं सीखना चाहता था कि एडिट पे ऐसा क्या होता है. पूरी फिल्म बनती एडिट पे ही है मेरे ख्याल से. वहां वो जॉब खत्म हुआ, उसके बाद आपके पास कुछ नहीं, unless you met somebody on the set who knows somebody who's starting somebody who needs somebody exactly when this is getting over. Because what I learned in film school for that little period that I was there is this, that for every 1 day of shooting, you need 7 days of prep. That 1 day. So if you're shooting with 100, you can multiply that. So it's not exactly a direct multiplication because you're also carry forward.
Obviously, yeah.
So after I finished my first film, I didn't have anything. I didn't know what to do. I was just like sitting empty. And luckily, I was an avid theater watcher. So Wednesdays को पृथ्वी थिएटर की टिकट आधे से कम रेट में मिलती. तो हम लोग मंडे और फ्राइडे का अफोर्ड नहीं कर पाते थे. हम लोग, और मेरे माता पिता सुनेंगे तो वियर्ड महसूस करेंगे, बट हम लोग अपने जीवन जी रहे थे तब. तो वेडनेसडे को हम वो थिएटर देखने गए. हम जब थिएटर देखने गए तो वहां कोई मित्र मिल गया जिसका किसी से रिलेशन या कनेक्शन है. तो पूछा कि अरे तू थिएटर कर रहा है क्या, आजकल क्या कर रहा है, असिस्ट करके हटा है. अच्छा क्या लेवल के एडी थे, ये लेवल के एडी थे. अच्छा ठीक है, एक काम कर, कल आजा, इनसे मिल ले. तो for me it was luck, and I went and I interviewed, and it so happened that Nandita Das had opened Choti production, which was producing cine plays, which were theater plays made into cinema. And I was going to her house. Now, why this is special is because in 98 she played my mother. And I have been prohibited from saying this in public. I'm sorry, Ammi Jan, I call her that whenever I meet her. But like, it was the most unimaginable coincidence, because I go into the house and I see the bookshelf and there's a book which is the Shyam Benegal autobiography, and you open X number of pages and there's a family portrait of ours where I'm sitting in her lap like a little child. Rajat Kapoor, my father's there. There is Shabana Azmi, there's Seema Bharkar, who's now Seema Pava. So all of these people are now in some capacity or the other met or worked with. So I did 3 cine plays with them. वो 3 खत्म हुआ. अब मेरे पास कुछ काम नहीं है. Now the biggest lull I've had is the 2015 lull. And between Feb to August, I didn't do anything. I would wake up, I would collect data on production houses के address. I would go to production houses, I would give my CV or my paper, and then try to refer somebody, किसी का नाम ले लो. तो ऐसे इंडस्ट्री में थोड़ा हेल्प कर जाता है कि आप किसी का नाम ले लो. हाँ सर, मैंने उनके साथ काम किया है. हाँ जी, मैंने उनके साथ काम किया है. और जनरली क्या होता है, डायरेक्शन टीम्स के साथ ना एक डायरेक्टर अपने कुनबे के साथ काम करता है क्योंकि वो कंफर्ट लेवल होता है, वो समझते हैं, तो उनकी टीम्स फॉर्म्ड होती हैं. सो दे वुड ऑलवेज बी लाइक, नहीं हमारी टीम बन गई है, अगले प्रोजेक्ट के लिए कंसीडर करेंगे, अगला प्रोजेक्ट होगा 1 साल बाद. सी द थिंग इज, you have to be really crazy passionate, and by that I mean you need to be crazy passionate with your back balance also. कि हाँ भाई, it will go down to negatives sometimes. You will need to have really good friends. barter deals are okay. There is nothing wrong in asking for work. You don't know who will help you out where. So try to keep in touch and try keep talking to people and try keep reading up as much. But after 2015, I took up a corporate job. So that's where I'm at right now.
So that's some journey you've had up till now.
इसमें भी काफी मतलब ऐसे बिट्स एंड पीसेस फ्रैगमेंट्स हैं जो रह जाएंगे. यदि किसी को और डिटेल चाहिए तो क्वेश्चंस पूछ सकते हैं और मैं आंसर करूंगा.
Definitely, I'll link your profile. They can DM you directly on this. How do you engage in that self-talk to consistently not give up and keep showing up to yourself?
I don't know.
Because
I mean,
that's the behind the scenes I want to know from your story.
I think somewhere we all need a little bit of successes in between those failures. नहीं बोलूँगा, but like drops.
Slumps.
Like you need one peak. Yeah, you need one peak, then you can slump and then घाट आएगा, फिर ऊपर चढ़ जाएंगे, फिर घाट आएगा, फिर चढ़ जाएंगे. So I've been part of an ad. Once I'd stopped acting, I was part of an ad, very big campaign, IPL campaign. I was probably the star of the campaign, very big director directing it. The ad never came out. कहीं ना कहीं, I think there has to be a hope. So in a year, if you've done correct. So the answer to this was answered for me, for my real self, only about a year ago. There is this really cool Gujarati heroine now and a theater artist called Deepna Patel. She was with me in New York Film Academy. वो Indian होते हो आप New York में तो आपका मतलब ऐसे एकदम फट connect हो जाता है. And she was in my first music video, like my first legit music video जहाँ मैं खुद producer था. और उन्होंने मेरे को बोला कि सिद्धार्थ तूने साल में कितना काम किया. और मैंने उनको बताया मैंने साल में इतना काम किया. उन्होंने बोला और फिल्में कितनी रिलीज नहीं हुई. मैंने बोला इतनी 4. बोलते हैं यार वो 90 जो रिलीज हुई है उनको देखना, ये बाकी की 4 को क्यों टेंशन लेके सोच रहे हैं. तो कहीं ना कहीं आप इतना काम कर लो कि आपका एक्स काम इसको बहुत छोटा तिनका जैसा दिखे. तो आई थिंक समवेयर माय फेलियर वाला होप हैज बीन compensated by my success wala this thing. So even the show that I host, the Bombay Journey, उसमें भी कई सारे एपिसोड एकदम फ्लैट होते हैं, एकदम फ्लैट. और even right now when I'm talking to you, Ashna, I've realized that there is a great possibilities in all those failures you had. Extremely huge amount of learning. Large budgets and how to save money on a large budget के अलावा meeting these people who I've worked with eventually, gotten connections with, helped me in the first that big ad that never released. The 4 ads that never released, I realized अगर आपके पास इतना बजट हो और आप वेस्ट कर दो, या आपके पास बहुत छोटा बजट हो और आप मतलब penny wise pound foolish हो जाओ, 4 चीजें कम मंगवा के आपको actually hurt करें वो सेट पे, तो प्रोडक्ट में बाधा डालेंगी फाइनल प्रोडक्ट. और वो फाइनल प्रोडक्ट अगर अच्छा नहीं बनेगा तो आपकी कहानी का कोई मतलब ही नहीं बना. You realize that all of those people that you met, all of those experiences that you had are also something that you will be cherishing and like learning something from. तो वो failure नहीं है कहीं ना कहीं, वो एक it's just one of those things. I mean, it's
just a learning lesson and then you take it.
It's a nice learning lesson. Yeah.
How does, see, this industry is very rosy and very glamorous and very fascinating from the outside, right? But what is that one thing that when you were entering, you did not expect it to happen? So like bursting the bubble for those people, what would that be?
यार मैं तो ऑनेस्टली हमेशा बोलता हूँ कि बाहर से चकाचौंध है, अंदर आके देखो कितनी गंदगी है. somehow कॉर्पोरेट में भी उतनी गंदगी है यार. मतलब ऐसे ईमेल्स हो जाते हैं जो मेक श्योर करते हैं कि X% क्विट कर देगा विद इन X नंबर ऑफ डेज. ऐसे डिवीजन में डाल दिया है उसको कि वो छोड़ ही देगा, है ना. ये सेम फिल्म पे भी होता है कि वो मेरे से बड़ा स्टार बन रहा है तो मैंने मेक श्योर कर दिया है कि वो ऐसी चीजें हो उसके साथ कि वो छोड़ दे फिल्म, और फिर आई बिकम द स्टार. सो देयर इज अ बिट, एंड आई थिंक लाइक कैंपेन्स और इनिशिएटिव्स और uproars like Me Too proved that you have equal parts Me Too happening in the industry as you have in the journalistic or media industry, or as you have in the corporate industry. And I had been a bit of all of those industries. I had seen casual sexism on a set. I had seen casual sexism in a newsroom. and I had seen casual sexism in a corporate office. So for me, it was like, अरे यार सभी गंदा है फिर तो. So it's about how then you meander with it. And the bubble burst is also about realizing that you don't have to go to big parties to be a part of the circle. You don't have to be part of a circle and push yourselves and be something that you're not because you want to be of certain inside something. So the only negativity comes from the fact जहाँ आप खुद चल कपट करने जाओ, जहाँ आप किसी के ऊपर पैर रख के अपना ऊपर चढ़ना चाहोगे, या आप खुद से ये सोचोगे कि यार if I tell that person about that person, like it happens in college also, no? Same conversation can be taken to a corporate room and get convoluted and get like its own kind of wings and Chinese whisper by the time it travels. On a set वो span ही इतना कम हुआ ना, जैसे आप corporate नौकरी में तो साल भर 2 साल भर काम कर रहे हो. Correct. एक सेट पे आपके पास 100-150 दिन है. 100-150 दिन में गॉसिप ज्यादा जल्दी उसी सर्कल में फैल के immediate effect करता है. And those people are right there in front of you, and those things are just like happening and panning out while all of this is happening. So you're just like, "Arey yaar, what do I do now? How do I escape these people?" And that's when you become something that you probably aren't. तो मेरा कैमरा अटेंडेंट था डेविड पे, उन्होंने मेरे को बोला था कि सब लोग इंडस्ट्री में आते तो हीरो बनने ही है, वो बाकी की चीजें करना चालू कर देते हैं क्योंकि हीरो नहीं बन पाते. कास्टिंग में घुस गए, कैमरा में घुस गए, साउंड में घुस गए. So for me, that also has played out a lot. So if you have an interest in music, then do music. If you have an interest in how visual imagery goes, then do camera. And if you're continuously doing what you like to do and shutting off this noise that other people, then you can rise above that. Know what you want. Know that you want attention. Then you will have to become this like weird person who goes around gathering it from wherever possible avenue. Know that you want to be creative, then you probably won't be able to make money. Know that if you want to make money, then you'll have to probably be a sellout, according to the world and what they will say. Know that if you want mental peace, then you'll probably have to shut some voices around you. Know that if you want mental peace, you'll also probably have to not be able to make somebody happy. मैं हमेशा चाहता था मैं सबको खुश करूं, और सेट पे आप कभी सबको खुश नहीं कर सकते.
Yeah. That's some harsh reality that you showed in all those statements that you just made.
But the sad part is it exists in everywhere, in every
That's
industry,
true.
in every category.
That's true, definitely.
People also get bogged down by a lot of people saying तुम नहीं कर पाओगे. So anybody will say things like अरे तुम्हारे बस की बात नहीं है, तुम रहने दो. तो उससे आपको शायद एक ड्राइव ही आनी चाहिए कि हाँ क्या बात कर रहे हो यार, आप 5 साल बाद मैं आपको बताऊंगा कि मुझे करना चाहिए. But set yourself periods, like set yourself goals. For every kind of task that you're setting out to do, set yourself X time. So I said by 2018, I should have had made something substantially big and good enough. That's out there that people recognize and then people see. So then there's a food web series that I made, which is in season 3 now. It's on Hotstar. So like Kitchen Khanna Konversations, I have 45 million views from the first season. It has won gold at Ad Gully and all of those things for the best web series. So essentially that had already started getting filmed and was about to come out. Or I was in the proposal stage and was almost going to come out. And however, don't base X goal on Y goal. कि मतलब मैं web series release करके शादी करूँगा, या मैं ये करने का गाड़ी खरीदूँगा. अगर गाड़ी खरीदनी है तो गाड़ी खरीद लो, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, आज पैसे हैं खरीद. So do what you have to do, but always like, क्योंकि कई सारे लोग हमारे देश में भाग जाते हैं घरों से, बम्बई आते हैं हीरो बनने. आप ये डिसाइड करके आओ कि आप 2 साल में हीरो बनना चाहते हो, 3 साल में बनना चाहते हो, 5 साल में बनना चाहते हो. आपके पास पॉकेट में पैसा कितना है, आपकी स्ट्रगल की कैपेसिटी कितनी है, आपके दिमाग के अंदर कितना मेडिटेटिव स्पिरिट है कि आप ये स्ट्रगल करके शाम को आके मेडिटेशन करके नींद ले पाओ. So you need to be on your foot and like catching on the trend and like delivering the right kind of things, but you need to know that there is no single one way of doing it. हाँ मतलब तरीके हैं, but आपका ही तरीका सही होगा कि नहीं ये गारंटी नहीं है आजकल.
What's your mid vibe like? So like let me explain this question to you. So mid vibe is clearly what my channel is all about. At this point of your journey, what's your vibe right now?
यार pre-corona or during corona or even after corona, I'm going to have the same answer, I believe, is that I'm going to dabble and do everything. and it can be called the new age keywords that they have, like a hustle or whatever, or
Hustle, yeah.
matlab, the vibe is hustling, but it is very measured hustling. So like, I won't hustle in places where I don't want to put efforts in. I will hustle in places where I know this will be fruitful. So it is about seeding the thoughts, and this is, and I've realized that I give myself too much credit sometimes, but मैं अपने आप को खुश करने के लिए जब मैं रणवीर सिंह का कोई इंटरव्यू देखता हूँ तो मैं रियलाइज करता हूँ कि इस बंदे ने भी वही किया. इस बंदे ने चिंग्स की एड की, रणवीर ने रोहित शेट्टी के साथ, और फिर सिम्बा पाई, और वो वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट सिनेमैटिक इंडियन सिनेमैटिक यूनिवर्स के हिस्सा है. You know, it's very thought out, calculated, measured kind of work. So it's a measured hustle that I do. I mean, you can do crazy hustling, और उससे आप फिर 4 जगह पैर फंसा लोगे और फिर कुछ नहीं मिलेगा, or you can do like a measured hustle. And I know what my final line is like. I somewhere want to tell great stories. I somewhere want to tell great stories, but I also want one of each awards. Like I want a gold in one. Like एक सब हो जाए, फिर मैं पैकअप कर लेगा. मैं रेस्टोरेंट लूँगा या सिर्फ राइस और एक करी बेचूंगा एक फूड ट्रक में.
Interesting. That's really interesting. I hope you gathered some key takeaways from this conversation. If you did, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give us a review, keep going, embrace your vibe. Until next time, thank you, take care.